Sly Sylvester joins us, former Utah linebacker with KSL Sports. And when we want to get some stuff from Utah football and what Kyle Whittingham is doing and much more, we do get him, and we'll have him on momentarily. And I'm going to ask him off the top. One is how much of a bad taste is in the mouth, but also just the overall summary of Cam Rising finally giving it up. Not finally in a way like good riddance, but it had to be painstaking. Sly Sylvester joins us now on 365 Sports, former Utah linebacker. Good to see you, my friend. We appreciate it. I want to start with the Cam Rising giving up the game. Was that just painful to watch how things went the last couple of years and just needs to make a decision?
Well, I mean, for me, it just shows you how important the position is, right? And how much you need a good quarterback. And honestly, it goes to why quarterbacks are looked at as being the most important part of the team, why they're so important to a game's mission. And you know, Utah put a lot of stake into Cam Rising the last couple of years, you know, as far as his involvement with the team's success. And it's what you should do. It's what a lot of people do, and why when teams are like, oh, I didn't have a good year, we didn't have our quarterback, and that's the reason, right? And, you know, so just like my Steelers, we're a quarterback away and we keep messing up and not having one. So, but, you know, it's definitely painful, you know, and everybody can know now, you know, that injury to Cam Rising was serious. You know, it wasn't just a fluke injury. It was something where he couldn't grab the ball. You know, some tendons or nerves were all messed up in that deal. And honestly, it really brings to light that phrase that you're one play away. Right, you're one play away from possibly not playing the game again. You're one play away from getting an opportunity, and so you got to take the game seriously, you know. And this goes to like guys sitting out of bowl games, guys not playing certain games. You don't know when your last time is going to be, and I'm sure Cam Rising didn't think playing against Baylor was going to be the last time that he played football.
Devin Dampier steps in as the quarterback now, and they haven't been able to be dynamic on offense since that Rose Bowl game where Cam Rising got hurt. He appears, especially knowing the offense already coming in from New Mexico with offensive coordinator, quarterback come together. Is this a perfect storm situation for Utah fans to finally see that offense that they've been wanting so badly? Because even through all of this, the defense has hardly dropped off at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, even still, you know, watching practice this spring, even watching the spring game, like you see our offense struggling, this and that. I was like, people, y'all got to realize this defense is top 15, top 20 in the nation all the time. You know, and the scheme is just awesome. The athletes that they recruit, the defense is just electric. I think, to double down on what you said, I think this is more than the perfect scenario for Utah, right? Because anything that you get new, you're going to have to adjust to. You're going to have to adjust to a new coordinator. You're going to have to adjust to a new offense. You're going to have to adjust to a new quarterback, learning a new system and learning chemistry between the receivers. You get that already in place, right? And all you have to do is really work on that chemistry between that offensive line and understanding what type of quarterback you have back there. Is he somebody that moves around, or is he somebody that sits in the pocket, right? Or as a receiver, what time does the quarterback get the ball out? How sweet does he get this slant out? Is it right after I take my third step on the slant, or do I take 2 steps into the slant? What window? There's a lot of things that they have to work on that's not there, but for a quarterback to know, you know, a system right off the bat and have actually a couple years on his eligibility is huge. And, you know, everything that I've heard from Devin Dampier coming out of Utah these last 3 months is all positive, man. This guy has definitely taken shape in being an owner and a leader of this offense, taking responsibility to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And that's all you could ever want out of a quarterback. So, yes, I think Utah definitely dove straight into the perfect scenario.
Sly, what do you expect from this offense in terms of just scheme and how it looks under Jason Beck? And, you know, just kind of what I guess have been the impressions that you've gathered on just how the offense has looked and kind of their trajectory moving forward.
Yeah, I'm definitely. You guys mentioned it. The last couple of years have been rough for Utah fans, so I am beyond reserved on getting anybody any type of like, oh, we're back, And so I definitely got to wait and see. But one thing you can't miss, you can't denounce, you can't underestimate is speed. And Devin Dampier has got speed. And the weapons that we have picked up, they have speed. And so as a defense, as a guy, that's how I look at the game. When I'm on the sidelines, I'm looking at how would I do against things like this, or what type of defense, what style would I do against this? And you can't coach, you can't really do anything when you have a guy as dynamic as Devin Dampier. Man, he is, when he brings that ball down and decides to run, everybody look like it's to the point to where if you have a QB spy, good luck, right? And it's one of those offenses is you do a QB spy, that means that you're letting go other factors of your defense, whether you're relinquishing some pass rush so he's able to hold on to the ball more, or you're taking somebody off coverage so somebody comes open that much quicker. And when he's scrambling, that's what I love. He's good on the run. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that can run and be accurate on the run. He might even be more accurate than sitting in the pocket than him on the run. And so that just puts defenses into a huge, huge hurricane to try to deal with and understand. So I'm very, very excited about the potential of this offense. And, I don't believe that we have a number one yet. There's been some guys who stepped up that were younger guys in the past, especially in the tight end room, and that's what I talked to Jason Beck about, earlier as he came in, was what style of offense is this going to be? It's personnel driven. Whether we got dynamic tight ends, you're going to see more tight end packages. We got more dynamic receivers, you're going to see a lot of receiver packages. If we have multiple running backs, you're going to see a lot of 21, 20, 31 possible personnel out there, so whatever weapons that he has, he's going to utilize. And that's something as a fan, as somebody who respects the game, can appreciate.
Sly, is he one of those that you have to go, damn, if we put pressure on him and he gets loose, we're screwed either way?
Yeah. As I said, I mean, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't type of scenario. It's kind of like what I hate is you have to be perfect on defense against guys like this, right? And you got to find your weaknesses, and this is why it's the same thing as basketball, the same thing as football, any sport. You got to find out what they got going on that day, right? Do they got the passing game going on that day? Do they got the running game going on that day? And with Devin Dampier, you have no idea what that's going to be. Is his arm going to be on fire today, or is he going to kill us with his legs? And so as a defense, you got to prepare for everything. You never know what it's going to be that given Saturday. So very excited to see what it could be. Again, I'm waiting until we put some points on the board and start putting some W's in the win and loss column. I'm still going to reserve my judgment. But I tell you what, as a defense, I'd be worried and very hard to prepare for a guy like Devin Dampier.
The first part of the schedule, there's a lot more questions like who's UCLA going to be? Wyoming's always kind of a trappy place to kind of go. But
I hate Wyoming.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. Tech is going to be tough, even though that's a game at home. Nobody knows about West Virginia, and that's a really long road trip. They've got a new coach. But after that bye week, when you've got in the last half of the season, Arizona State, BYU, Colorado, Baylor, Kansas State, and Kansas. And I didn't mention Cincinnati in there because they're another one of those teams we don't know a whole lot about at this point. But if they're going to be back to the Utah that they were expecting a couple years ago when joined the Big 12, they're going to have to beat some teams that right now look like they're very tough on paper and have maybe much more established rosters on both sides.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. One thing that I think everybody just needs to understand, and you got to wait till game day, right? Yeah. I don't think anybody thought Arizona State was going to win the Big 12. I don't think anybody thought Iowa State was going to do what they did this year. I thought a lot of people thought Utah was going to do good last year. A lot of people thought that Oklahoma State was going to do good last year. and you just don't know. We have no idea who that surprise team is going to be this year. I hope it's Utah, but I got to prepare for every moment. And as these players, if I was a coach, game one is all we're focused on right now. When we get to Big 12 play, that's what it is at that moment. When we get to Cal Poly or Wyoming, whatever the opponent is, take care of it at that time. It does us no good to guesstimate what's happening in November or October right now. But for me, nobody thought BYU was going to be as good as they were last year. And so I think if we could focus on ourselves, I take it away. My biggest thing from yesterday or from last year was, imagine you guys, you add 8 points. Give us 10 points. You add 10 points to every single game Utah had last year, right? Add 10 points. That's all. It's 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. We are a 10-2 team, right? That completely changes your entire season with just 10 points. And so if those guys can focus on that, it doesn't matter the opponent. We got to do things the way that we have to do things. We have to put points on the board. In defense, we have to take the ball away and keep the opposing team at bay. If you do that each and every week, you're going to be in it, no matter if it's the SEC, Big 10, or a top-tier opponent in the Big 12.
Sly, I don't think humility is the right word when I'm talking about kind of like your hesitance to go all in, or even the Utah fans who are all kind of just like, let's just wait and see see what happens. It's totally understandable. But I guess my question is, how much of a chip on the shoulder is there right now, and like this sense of urgency after last year? Like nobody's trying to get too crazy with predicting things, but how much is there just this itch of like, man, that was not Utah, and we're better than that, and man, this thing's got to get turned around.
Man, honestly, if you're a competitor, which, I've felt is mostly Utah fans, they have a competitive spirit about them. Nothing the last 2 years should sit well with you, right? And you should want to be getting out there. You should be chomping at the bit at another opportunity. That's what sucks about football. You guys know you only have a limited amount of opportunities to showcase your talents, right? And it gets less and less, it feels like, every single time. And so, last year we only had 12 opportunities. We started 4-0, but everybody's only remembering those last 6 games, right? And so, our last 7 to 8 games. And so it just sucks. And it's something where, I think the defense is taking a new approach to the game, right? Of not thinking that, if we have an offense, that's what it's going to take for us to win games. Like, no, these guys that came back this year understand, like, look, if we don't have an offense, we can still do some stuff. We were 8 points away in many games, right? That's taking 8 points off the board. I know that's what Morgan Scalley is preaching to these guys. Take 8 points off the board from your opponent. Where are you at? Right? And so for me as a fan, as somebody close to the university, that's all that I am thinking about, man, is getting back out there and getting Utah back to that winning culture, that winning understanding that we've been so privy to all these years. And so it's what everybody's expecting, right? The nation is looking at Utah and what we believe, and they got to showcase that. And it starts week 1 at UCLA.
I know you got to go, and we have a segment coming up right here, but how many times did you give that passionate type of speech during or before a game, in the locker room, on the sideline? I bet you did that a bunch.
Man, I did it more with my play. I was more of a lead by example guy, right? I'd get after guys, and that's the only way you get respect. The only way you get respect from somebody is if you're willing to put it on the line like they would. If you're asking somebody to do something, are you willing to do the same thing? And that's what a lot of people love about Coach Whittingham is they understand the type of coach he is, because now they're understanding the type of player that he was. He was a tenacious player. And that was such a long time ago, but there's still stories about the type of energy that he brought to the game. And you can tell that in the way that he speaks. And as a leader, as a captain of the team, that's the only way you'll get respect, is if they know that you're willing to put it on the line for this team, or you're willing to do what they are asking you to do. And that's one thing that my teammates would never put in question. I was always willing to do the most so we could come out of there with the win. And I hope that that's all Utah men, anybody that comes to this football program, they have that mindset. They have that intuition. They have that type of humility going into a football game that it's my band of brothers and we're going to come out on top. We're the only people that's going to win. And my grandma always used to say there's always got to be a winner and a loser, but damn it, I hate that. I'm going to win every time.
Sly, thank you, buddy. Great to have you on again. And we will, when we get kind of close to August or whatever, even before then, we'll bring you back. Love the knowledge and insight. Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate you guys.
Sly Sylvester, Utah linebacker, and also a part of KSL Radio with us on 365 Sports.